Familiar Sports. Those are all original. We make them all in-house. Don't laugh, Hen Dog. Okay, this is a segment, Hen Dog, where we just yell about sports. Finally, after 35 minutes, shout out you. Here are the 3 topics. Number 3, we'll start
Wish
there.
we could get a picture of Hen Dog making a tackle and put up there, but that never happened. So,
Ooh, burn,
dude. Hey, there's 2 out of the 4 people, or the 2 out of the 5 people in here have torn ACLs before. We're torn ACL brothers.
I will say this: I saw somewhere, maybe it was DraftKings or somebody, but they posted who was the best number 34 to ever play the game. And I did scour. I almost asked you had to get you to send me a picture. I couldn't find one online of you playing with your 34.
Oh, dang.
I should have done the one where all arm in arm walking off the field. I'm trying to think if there ever was a picture. I did make a few tackles.
The Delaware kickoff is what I was looking for.
Oh my gosh, dude! No, that was got my helmet knocked off.
You got to wear your helmet on the field,
dude. Got my helmet knocked off. NFL draft attendees were announced. Who's the next Will Levis? We'll look at the list. Then we'll talk about the Nico thing. Is out of control. He might Le'Veon Bell himself. I think he already did. And Colorado's retiring 2 numbers. So here we go. Let's get to it quickly. Here's the draft attendees, on-site prospects that have been announced thus far. Here's the list. There's 17 of them, I think. Of these people, of these players, who's going to be the one? Because we had Will Levis a couple years ago, and before that, I think it was Aaron Rodgers. Where they're
Jalen Milroe not going in the first round.
Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn was
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, Aaron Rodgers. I'm right. That's the one I'm looking at. Jalen Milroe, dude. There is no way.
Jackson Dart's not going first round.
So it's going to be between those 2, right? It has to be Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe that's going to be the one with the camera sitting on him, and all their families we're just rubbing his back, and then his girlfriend will leave him like Will Levis's did at the draft, and
or Morgan Wallen.
Somebody will release a tape that's not appropriate, and then they'll be like, "Oh gosh, look at that, he's back." Would you say Morgan Wallen?
Could you imagine if one of us was sitting in the green room of the draft? Your phone would be blowing up constantly because we all take turns calling hey,
I'm sorry. If I ever had the opportunity to go, even if I knew I was getting first picked, I would not go because I would be with the boys.
That's true.
I agree with that. That's good.
Unless you made your agent agree to let all your boys come there and just be there with you in that room.
Well, that's the thing, though, is as soon as you leave there, you go directly to where you got drafted from. So I'd rather be with my boys the little bit of time I had.
That's a good point. But that also is once in a lifetime walking out on the stage. But
yeah, I don't really care about that stuff.
Yeah,
who wants to go up there and hug Goodell anyway?
That's a good point.
What if somebody goes out and nut taps you?
I don't honestly know who a lot of these guys are.
Yeah.
Who is Tetariel McMillan?
Oh, he's the receiver from Arizona. Everybody likes him. He's got a bad attitude, apparently, but hey, who cares about that?
He's a receiver. He's supposed to have a bad attitude.
You're right. He's that's ahead of the game, dude.
I like that in my receiver. Give him the ball.
G&T's going to be there. Travis Hunter. I don't see Shedeur Sanders isn't going to be there, but I think the question was, Tex, who do you think is going to be the Will Levis or the Aaron Rodgers or the Brady Quinn out of this list?
All right, great answer. All right, moving on.
Yep. Okay. Next.
What's that?
Dude, Tex froze his picture for those of you that are watching. Froze his picture. It sounds like
no idea where he's at.
In the background, what are you doing? Feeding the cows in the background, or what?
He sounds like the kid from Hey Arnold, where he's just breathing heavily into your ears.
I got to move away from the mic. I was reading.
Who do you think it's
reading those names, and I was literally typing in some of the names to see who some of them were. Like I know Ashton G.T., Travis Hunter. I was going through some of those names to figure out who they were.
Is it Jaheed or Jihad?
I guess it's Jihad.
The H is silent.
Silent.
Oh my God, we're gonna get banned.
Okay, moving on. This guy stinks. Nico Iamaleava.
So those guys were.
I'm a lever.
I believe.
I believe I can fly. This is where it starts. It's getting weird, guys. He almost sat out of the college football playoff game because of he wasn't getting paid. Which he went on to go for a whopping 14 of 31 for 104 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns and got absolutely massacred. So that started that he was going to sit out the playoff game. Great, good for this guy. And then
Those
it came
Lamar
out.
Jackson numbers though.
Ooh, easy.
Oh, I love that. Then Tulane said they were interested. So did North Carolina and I think UCLA. So Tulane and then North Carolina both pulled out. And so now his camp comes out and says the narrative was BS. A family friend involved in negotiation tells FOS. The other sources disputed them. And he did not push for more NIL money. Okay, sure.
Sure, yeah.
And then Urban Meyer gets involved, and he says Tennessee is screwed. They have a problem. Nice job, Tennessee, making a stand. They usually play Florida every year in October. Can you imagine that game's going on the other way? And Heupel grabs a microphone and stands at the 50-yard line and says, "It's okay. I made a stand way back when." Shut up, Urban Meyer.
I bet he goes to Ohio State.
That would be funny. And now it's reported that he's going to UCLA. But then it came out earlier tonight that he wasn't going to UCLA. Then UCLA's not offering him anywhere close to $4 million. So that's where this whole thing is. It's a complete joke. Go ahead. Who wants to go?
So I got 2 things. So one, I saw tweet or Instagram, I can't remember what it was. It said had a picture of his dad and a picture of Nico beside each other, and it says, "Imagine your son goes for $46,000 a week, and you push for $82,000 a week to now you're both getting 0." And like that is the most epic meme right there. That I was trying to find it and send it to you real quick. The second thing is like I think we talked about this a little bit some last show, but let's be real here. Like this whole Tennessee taking the stand, doing what's right is the biggest load of horse shit that anybody's ever heard in their life. And like they didn't take a stand for anything. They're going to go to the portal. They're going to get another player, and they're going to pay them $3-4 million. Like, so it's just somebody that's worth it. They basically told Nico, "Yeah, you're not worth $4 million. You're only worth 2 point whatever it is." That and congratulations for saying that your quarterback that you paid is not worth the money that you paid, and kicked him to the curb. Like, I get that, but you're not taking a stand on shit, trying to do what's right. You're not doing any of that. That's what aggravates me is everybody makes Tennessee like, "Oh, Tennessee did so good." Oh, no, they didn't. They don't give a crap about standing up for what's right. They're just trying to say you're not worth that money. We're not going to pay you that. And then all of a sudden he said, "Well, I'm gonna walk." Well, Tennessee said, "There's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out." If they wanted to take a true stand for it, they would sit there and say, "All right, we're going to have walk-on tryouts. Let's see how big of a stand you're going to take then. Let's actually see what's going to come due then." Another thing,
I thought you were going to say, Call, they were going to trade him to Clemson. See how big of a stand he really is to trade him to Clemson because you're still mad because Clemson hasn't gotten their orange back.
no, Dabo said they didn't want him.
Clemson can afford him because they keep raising ticket prices.
Easy. Another thing too is like, I almost wonder if this guy does go play somewhere, how big of a idiot is he going to look like if somebody says, "Well, I'm only going to pay you 1.5," and he takes it?
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna have to.
I'm telling you, he Le'Veon Bell'd himself. Like he completely Le'Veon Bell'd himself.
He might not. He might have to play for nothing.
Yeah, might be going D2.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, people are gonna want to deal with if it's his dad or whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
What he's
going to want to deal with it. Somebody said he should pull the George Costanza and just show back up to Tennessee like nothing ever happened.
You know what he should do is he should go challenge that quarterback for the flag football team that's trying out for the Olympics. Take his job. That's what he should do. Hen Dog, what do you think about this guy?
It's just a distraction. It's a distraction to the whole game in college football, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. Nobody wants to be this kid's teammate.
Terrible.
Yeah.
What would you have asked for, Hendall, if you were playing now?
I was in no position to ask for shit.
I said, "Can I be on the team, please?" That's what I would have said.
Can I get steak and chicken?
Yeah.
Y'all need some
I don't need steak. I don't need steak and lobster. That's for sure. I mean, I did have to ask for my first national championship ring to be cut off my finger and ask for a new one. So
At what point do
I
all
asked
these
for-
boosters start getting together and saying, "We just paid this kid $2 million. We want our money back"?
Oh, I mean, that's what everybody's like. Oh, when the players have all leverage, I'm like, dude, they don't have. You were sadly mistaken if you're in that camp.
My wife's uncle, he's a big time donor at West Virginia, and a couple years ago they had that kid that transferred from USC. I forget what his name is, but
Sloter.
I don't remember what his name is. But no, it wasn't that guy. But anyway, he was like a big time recruit, like the biggest recruit they'd gotten there in a long time. And they were going to pay him. So as soon as he got on campus, they went and set up him a bank account, put the amount of money that they said that they were going to pay him in that account. So he had it. He played at West Virginia for 3 games. He got hurt.
JT Daniels.
Yes. And then transferred out of West Virginia after 1 year.
Oh, my
And
God.
Michelle's uncle, or my wife's uncle, is just like, hey, at a school like West Virginia, we don't have the type of money that we gave him to give kids every year.
Right.
And for him to do that to us, set us back. Now we can't pay anybody.
Yeah.
Because what if that happens again? It's just not a good investment. That's not something like if Edge decides to, through his company, pay a player, that's not something you can write off on your taxes. They don't allow that. So it's just like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's not a great investment for people to even do it to begin with, much less pay these kids that type of money.
It's going to happen before long to where it's going to start being contractual agreements where, we'll say, all right, we're going to pay Hendog $5.2 million. And if you leave within 3 years, you're obligated to pay us back that money.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And now other schools are going to, and it's going to be like coaches, right? They're going to have a buyout. They're like, all right, well, we want you. So we'll pay your buyout and get you your $1.6 million extra just so you can come over here. That's what it's going to turn out to. And it's going to be terrible.
Well, think about it too, is like, a lot of these schools, the donors are going to be like, all right, we haven't won a national championship in 15 years. Let's go all in 2 years. They get it. All right, we can take a break. We got a national championship. Let's take a break and not pay for a little bit. It's just not obtainable to continue to put that amount of money into.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't know.
I couldn't imagine being a donor and just be like, oh, I have that much money where I could just give it to a football program.
Well, you hear what's going on now, right? Now, a lot of former players are like Crosby is going back to
he's assistant general manager.
Yeah, honorary assistant general manager. In other words, stroking a check to get players. And, that's good and all, but like these players that are in the transfer portal every year or 2 years, like what school, when they go pro, if they actually make money, are they going to write a check to? Because they don't have any school loyalty, they're going to write a check for every school they're at.
They're not going to give any credit to the school.
Right.
So
I saw some picture and it was like definition of the portal, and it was like a dude getting recruited by Penn State, but they said looking to transfer from Mississippi State, but then he was flexing and on his arm he had the Georgia Bulldog logo tattooed on his arm. It was like his 3rd school transfer.
Golly.
Hey, look who it is, Hendog. Josh Jackson. Yes, it is Hendog. Game on. Will says it's called Tackle Football Guys. Draft the guy that can't be tackled. He's game on. Isn't that what Ashton Genty said? Didn't he say something along those? He said he had a quote like that or so. It was crazy. Josh said most of the donors don't want to pour into the NIL. Plus, it's not tax deductible. There you go. Yeah. So, but anyways, that's Nico. It's getting out of control. I'm done with that. But he'll sign somewhere, I'm sure. And then Colorado said that they were going to.
Wait. Before you move on, I see you kind of glaze over their BMO's comment just because they had to deal with a Niners guy.
What?
There
This
you
needed to
go.
happen, just like Kaepernick getting cold shouldered and made a point that he's not bigger than the game. NCAA needed a guy to get an example made of.
You just wanted to glaze over that comment because Kaepernick was the Niners, and you're like, "Oh, Niners at all costs is greater than anything else." So,
well, no, sometimes it scrolls up. I forgot I didn't see it. So thank you for reminding me. Patriots said the SMU got the death penalty for paying players in the 80s. Now it's a must. Dude, you're not kidding, dude.
And they'll be back soon because they have money.
Yeah, they were back already. They're in the playoff in the first year.
yeah.
Josh said put that late night cookout down. He caught you, dude. All right. Shedeur and Travis Hunter's jerseys are going to be retired Saturday during the spring. Thoughts? Tech.
Saturday, if they're retired, no, next Saturday's the draft, right?
Yes, next Thursday.
I was going to say they retired them during the draft.
Tech's thoughts.
I think this tells me that maybe Dion isn't in it for the long run. That's my thoughts.
That's a hot take.
That's my thoughts.
Elaborate.
He's going to Dallas. He's going to Dallas, dude.
I think that Dion is trying to get a little bit of legacy here. Got a couple Hall of Famers that he's 2 jerseys retired. I understand kind of Travis Hunter's. I don't really understand Shedeur's.
Travis Hunter wasn't even the best receiver on that team.
I still think it's way too soon to retire a guy's jersey. Like
it hadn't even been a
season
year
after they play. Yeah, the season after they play.
1-8 in the
not even. I don't know.
It doesn't mean they're not good.
Cordell Stewart's number's not retired.
Dion Figures. Have you seen his numbers?
They just have to have something to celebrate. They have nothing else to celebrate.
That's right. Josh said the same thing before Cortez. Slash, baby.
Happened before Cordell Stewart. And I'm pretty sure the guy who was the national championship winning quarterback there before Cordell Stewart also doesn't have his jersey retired. So, I don't know.
Eric Bieniemy played at Colorado. Do you know that? He's like their all-time leading rusher, one of their top rushers. His jersey wasn't retired. I mean, he did turn their college around or their university around. So
did he?
I mean, from what it was
they made a bowl game. That's like they didn't play for the conference championship. They didn't win a conference championship.
But they were awful. They weren't even competitive.
I get that, but a lot of coaches and players turn a franchise around. They don't get their number retired.
Here's what
after they leave.
What this tells me is that Deion Sanders is an absolute alpha dog. He said, "You're going to retire these kids' numbers," and they just said, "Okay." And I kind of respect that, whether you think about it or not. I'm just like, he basically was like, "We're doing this." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "That's okay. Good for you, Deion." He brought them out of playing midnight games. That's true. It's true.
They still play some midnight games because I couldn't stay awake for a lot of their games.
Let's not forget that they almost lost to North Dakota State week 1.
Yeah.
People forget. Anyways. Any thoughts?
I hate the whole like dad's a coach argument just because my dad was a coach and I had to deal with that and prove a lot of people wrong. But I'm not seeing immediately after you're done playing, get your number retired.
Hunter, I get because he's a Heisman. Like I understand that
he won the Heisman.
Shedeur, I don't. What did he? It said he's a 13-12 record and 8th place Heisman. I guess he was a Heisman almost finalist. So
he didn't go to New York. Yeah, I mean he was barely he's like an SEC basketball player. He's 13-12. He's like almost 500.
Anyways, and then Travis Hunter's on his tour. He said he'll never play football again if he doesn't play wide receiver and cornerback in the NFL.
Easy.
Like I don't.
Yeah, just throw him out there for a couple plays. Like
Those are big words, and after you just seen what happened to Nico in the NCAA, so
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
he's not. I don't think he's sturdy enough to do both in the NFL.
True.
I mean,
People
what
are-
is he? 6 foot, 180 pounds.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Set him across the middle.
That's what I don't understand. I thought both of them were a little undersized.
Travis Hunter for sure.
He's a good player, though. I mean,
it's not a knock on his talent. That's what I think he's getting it confused. Everybody's like, you can't do it. You're not talented. No, it's just like for the longevity of your career, it wouldn't be wise.
Look, I think he could be a very good, maybe all-time great defensive back.
Yeah.
There are a lot better wide receivers in the draft than him.
Yes.
He could go up and get the ball, but he wasn't even the best receiver on his own team.
It was Joey Horn Jr. or whatever his name was.
So I just think, I don't know, to say like I'm not going to play unless they put me at receiver. All right, we'll put you at wide receiver 5 and let you run a bubble route twice a game.
That's a good point. He said he couldn't stay healthy, but he missed. He got his bell rung playing receiver once against Colorado State. It was a cheap shot, but
yeah,
good point, Patriot. Okay. Yeah, that's what he said his conditioning is insane. That's a good point. Playing in Boulder is like playing in Boone. That's a good point. Very good point. I just think for his longevity of his career, I just think he shouldn't. But I don't know. What do I know?
All he needs is 3 years and 3 games.
I couldn't even make it as a long snapper for 3 days before I shattered my ACL.
It was the turf, dude. It was the turf.
Telling you, dude.
If we played on grass, you'd still have your ACL.
That's true.
He probably would lose it at the dock, though.
Dude, I almost did lose it at the dock last year. Hopped off of there when the dock was wet. Full Henrik Lundqvist split save. 1 foot on the dock, 1 foot on the boat. Like hanging there like the freaking Barnum Brothers circus. Just absolute panic show. Almost killed myself. Never do that again. Okay, I have one thing for the water cooler debate. So just hit that